What is going on, everybody? And welcome to this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. For the ones that have been here, usually, thank you very much for tuning in once again. If you guys have come from the Zuru Reels or TikToks that I've been posting, welcome to the podcast. I put out episodes every single Wednesday discussing the latest sporting news. I also bring on some guests to talk all things, pretty much any sport you want to talk about. And then also in this episode, as you can tell by the title, bringing in a athlete and a very good friend of mine, Jarvis, who is a wrestler here in Melbourne in the local scene, doing amazing work there. And I had him on an interview to sort of prepare and see where his mind's at before MCW Anniversary, which is happening this Friday. He's going for the MCW Heavyweight champion. So that's really exciting. And I'm rooting for Jarvis. I'm hoping he can get the dub there. But again, if you do like the content, if you do enjoy this podcast, hit subscribe wherever you do get it. Also be appreciated if you leave a 5-star review. If you've also come from those reels, me opening up Zuru balls, as you can tell, still got the card here. I'm still on my hunt. I'm looking for that Messi, looking for that Mbappe, of course. Let me know in the comments below. Just want to see if anyone is listening to the podcast from there. It'd be great to just see new people and new faces. And if there's anything specific you guys want me to talk about, if you want me to talk about them Zero balls and how I'm feeling about it, if you want me to just continue on the sports train, if you want me to go on any specific sports as well, this is the place where I do it, where I get on a bit of a yap. I call it spinning yarn. I just spinning yarn about sports and giving sort of the latest updates there. And today won't be a bit of a long one because I've got the interview for you guys that I'm really excited for you to listen at. It's been a while since I've done an interview-based episode. You can check out other interviews that I've done. I've done one with Noah Botic, who is an ex-A-League player, professional footballer, currently at Australia. I've also got interviews with journalists from the Washington Wizards. I also have Pistons Jack, who's an Aussie covering the Detroit Pistons and is a full-time content creator covering those guys, and much, much more, which I'm sure you guys can dig into the archives. There's about 50-something episodes that you can look into and see what you like as well. And, the podcast has taken different directions, of course, and we're here today to, have that interview and also give you, again, the latest updates, which, look, quite frankly, there isn't too much to cover. The main thing I would say is that we had the AFL and it's back. We had the State of Origin game. The Aussies football with Victoria taking on Western Australia. It's been about 50 years since they've had it. They hosted at Optus Stadium and we had the Victorians getting the victory. The score was 121 to 125. So Victoria got up by 4 goals, which is expected. That team was stacked. Lockie Ash taking on the EJ medal. They cannot give Dacos the medal, man. Why? Look, my biased Collingwood sense is coming to him, but man, he had 39 disposals, mate. He was up 38. It was unbelievable. 38 disposals, 1 goal, 2 behinds. The whole crowd was booing him, and he just showed that he's a ball magnet. He just rips the ball and gets there. And I think he had a killer. Bonds was close to him with 30. Those two are one of the best in the comp, and those are the best two that have never won a Brownlow. But they just can't even give Dacos an EJ Whitten medal. They gave it to Lockie Ash, who, to be fair, did have a solid 4th quarter. Defensively sound, 25 disposals. But in that team, you're giving Lockie Ash the EJ medal. You have so much better players, even on the Perth side or WA side. You've got Zach Butters as well and Bonds that obviously had killers. But Dacos was the standout. Let's be honest. 38 disposals in a Legends game with all those players. It's wild. But you know what? How good was the game? All the best to the guys that did get injured. And you can make an argument that maybe before the season isn't the best idea to have this. But at the same time, what a game. Like, we had the best of the best come out and just show us competitive footy. And, it's great. It's getting me keen for the season. The season starts in a few more weeks. We start with round 0. Obviously, a Pies fan, so back in the Pies this year. Not really sure how they're going to go. But we had a bit of a taste of what footy is. And I'm sure we missed it because I bloody did. And that was really awesome as well. And then on the other spectrum, you had, at the same time, NBA All-Star Weekend. Now, Dame Lillard winning the 3-point contest, that's awesome. Looks like Curry has to come back and claim his title back because I think that's 3 times in a row Dame's won it. Even with an Achilles injury, he went out and won, is pretty impressive. I didn't recall the dunk contest. I actually refused to watch it. One, I didn't have time, but two, the dunk contest hasn't been the same since the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine battles that we had back in 2015-16, where Aaron Gordon was most definitely robbed. I'm hoping it comes back to the contest, man, because I think we're in dire need of a change in the dunk contest. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they have to just... I've always pictured this idea that, okay, the creativity of creating your own dunks is awesome, but can it be a way where they'd have to actually recreate a famous dunk? Whether it's the Aaron Gordon behind the legs over the mascot, the Zach LaVine through the leg, free throw, dunk, whatever it's called, sorry. Like tween behind the legs, free throw dunk. Or you could have had the Vince Carter famous dunk that got crazy. Like dunks that we've seen that have been clear 50s out of, like, everyone votes, 50s, getting the players to recreate those and actually doing them and seeing who does it the best, who can execute it. I think that's the way the dunk contest should go in the future, in my opinion, because, you know, it's ending the night. Dunks are meant to be flashy. They're meant to be awesome. But when you have Jackson Hayes doing a full tomahawk dunk as a 7-footer, it's most definitely not entertaining. And it just hasn't been the same since Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine went at it. So maybe we need to just see them come back in and just battle it out. Or we need to change the format where the dunk contestants recreate the most famous dunks as well. We also had the young battles. Shout out to my boys, Keyshawn George, Bob Carrington, and Trey Johnson. Keyshawn George's team, led by Vince Carter, did win, and the Rising Stars MVP went to VHK Edgecombe, which thoroughly deserved it, in my opinion. And then you had also the All-Stars, who for the All-Star MVP was Anthony Edwards. The Young Guns ended up taking the victory. They came out with a statement, and you know what? That was quite a good All-Star game. Like, people were trying, and that's great to see. You want that to happen when you're seeing the All-Stars. So maybe they've made a little bit of progress. I still question the people that came in. We ended up getting Sengun. We ended up getting De'Aaron Fox. But I don't know about Brandon Ingram, man. Like, I love him. I actually do love him, but I think he's a great player. But I don't think that he was worthy of an All-Star. And, you know, that's something to sort of look back in the future. And, you know, NBA's had a massive sort of issue with tanking and players resting. And look, as a Wizards fan, I can sit in my bias and say, I like it because obviously if you're bad, you're bad. But they need to do something about it because I think there is too many games, which is probably one issue, which allows people to rest. And by the time you get to this moment, players and teams know who they are. They're not going to fight for a playoff spot. It's either that or, again, like what Adam Silver's saying is that draftees become free agents and you have to sign them. But then I'm just thinking, if you do that, then you're going to have teams that are going to be throwing money, the ones with the most salary cap, and the ones with the most salary cap are going to be the terrible teams anyway. Like you look at Chicago, you look at Washington, they're teams that have salary cap that have been taking on these players. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but I think Adam Silver's really trying to fix tanking up. And I think by doing that, you need to cut the games. I think 82 games is way too many. I get the profit. I get how much money they're going to lose. But how can you sit there and say 82 games of basketball, all 82 is going to be the best players and the best quality? Like, we have players sitting out on big games as well. It's not like they're just sitting out on a random Tuesday night. They're sitting out on big games, and it's getting quite ridiculous now. And, you know, there's been hate on it for the All-Star. Lucky the guys were trying this time. But now in the regular season, they need to fix it because everyone gets keen for playoffs, but regular season can really become a drag. And obviously, a lot of basketball is great. We all want to see it. We all want to be entertained. But it comes to a point where we really want to see good quality basketball games that mean something. So I think we need to drop it to at least 10 games. 10 games would be the appropriate thing instead of just trying this free agent thing that Adam Silver wants. And then you've also got the expansion teams, which I think people don't like it, but I think it's going to be really good because I think the league has actually a lot of skillful players that just don't have that opportunity to get minutes. And there are some stars that could potentially be stars if they were in another franchise, another situation. The league is just too skilled right now to have that many teams and not potentially expand. And I think having Seattle, having Vegas, I think would be awesome. And I think it'd be good for the league to have 32 teams. You spread out the salary. And, if you do add those games, that means you have an extra, 82 games for two teams, which ends up being 164. Then you can afford to get rid of 10 for each team, and then potentially with those extra games, you have extra games because you have extra teams. And in that way, the regular season's less. Just something to think about there. You've got play-in, you've added 2 extra spots, which means that play-ins are harder to get. And I don't know, it just becomes a lot more competitive as well. So, we saw that the Origin was a success. The All-Star game was somewhat of a success. I think it's a lot better format. But at the same time, you're banking on the fact that there'll be enough Europeans and enough Americans to be able to qualify as well and be eligible for an All-Star. So that's another thing to consider. But the tanking thing, it's been a big discussion league-wide. It is getting worse. I have to say it's getting a lot worse. And it's really up to Adam Silver to see how he's going to mitigate this and fix it up, because I think it's in desperate need of a bit of a fix there. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it. So on to the Winter Olympics now, where Australia have had their best Winter Olympics run ever, with a total of 5 medals, 3 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze. Awesome, because we don't normally clean up the medals in the Winter Games, but we managed to get 5 in this run, which is pretty cool. We had 2 golds from freestyle skiing, 1 from Cooper Woods, who had an excellent performance there, another from Josie Buff in the women's snowboarding, and then also Jakara Anthony in the dual Mongols for freestyle skilling. So that is awesome. And like I said, I do respect the Winter Olympians because the sport is great. And, shout out to Scotty James and Matt Graham as well, who also did pretty well in the freestyle skiing and also the snowboarding too, which is great. So that puts Australia on 5 medals. Hopefully next week that number improves and, we get more medals. The more the better, and the better run that is. Norway is obviously leading. They're cleaning up at the moment. 28 medals, 12 golds, 7 silvers, and 9 bronzes. It is a Scandinavian country. They're very well exposed to winter as well, so no surprise there. And Italy's doing pretty well as the host nation. 8, 4, and 11, total of 23 gold, silver, and bronze by that order. So, look out for that. I do feel like Norway is going to clean up. I really hope Australia can get as many medals as they can. I've been just tuning into sort of the every gold medal. So if you're not someone that has time to watch the Winter Olympics, there is the every gold medal sort of performance that Stan has on their highlights. So if you do have it for the Premier League and you want to see every gold, you can see every gold on the Winter Olympics. So that is pretty much that for the Winter Olympics. And, shout out to all the Aussies that have competed in the Winter Olympics. And, it's been doing well. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up that Olympic news. There is some other news regarding condoms and them being wasted, 10,000, but the Olympics has always been known for that. So we won't go too far into it, but, that pretty much wraps up all the sporting news for this week. So without further ado, I will get you into the interview I recorded with Jarvis. Like I said, if you're keen on getting to the match, I believe there's only standing tickets available at the Melbourne Pavilion. It is MCW Anniversary, and Jarvis will be in the main event taking on his opponent for the MCW Heavyweight Champion, which is going to be Robbie Thorpe. So look out for that one. It's going to be amazing. If you don't catch it, MCW will probably upload a video later, or you can get the live results on their Instagram page. But the interview is great. I really enjoyed sitting down with Jarvis, and Jarvis, got to give him a shout out for jumping on, especially the fact that he's really busy and he's priming up for the match too. So that's something that we're excited to see. But yeah, I'll leave you on to that. Also, I'll catch you guys next week, back with the regular sporting news as well. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy
episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
What is going on, everybody? And welcome to this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I'm here with my boy, Jarvis, a professional wrestler out here in Melbourne, wrestling many promotions. Jarvis, did you want to care to explain who you are, where you're wrestling, and how you're doing tonight?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, man, for having me. I appreciate being on. Yeah, no, I'm the greatest Jarvis. I'm a pro wrestler down here in Melbourne. Been wrestling for 8 years now. Been across all the journey, with MCW, Renegades of Wrestling, Wrestle Rock, a whole bunch of different promotions, PWA over there, some EPW stuff last year, and was able to do some extra work for the Fed. It's been good times, good vibes, and just seeing where the journey goes.
Nah, I love it. I love it. Where did you get the greatest nickname from? It's quite a strong nickname.
It is a strong nickname. It was actually initially a rib from my mate Murdoch, so my tag partner over in Renegades. I had the song that I found through YouTube, a dude called Little Cap, and the song title is "The Greatest," and he repeats that lyric and a few different things over and over again. So when I would make my entrance when I first started at PCW Slam, and I'd use that entrance, it just kind of Murdoch would come and be like, "You're the greatest, man. You're the greatest." And it just become like a rib. Like they're just ribbing me because of the song, which somehow then evolved into me going, that's actually a great nickname. I'm going to just use that. That's so smart. So I then use that, and then it's just kind of evolved to who I am today as just a bit of a moniker. Is I think I'm the greatest. It doesn't matter if you think you're top shit. I think I'm better shit than you. I think I'm the best around, and I think I'm proving that at the moment as well.
I totally rate that. And you definitely have been. Like, I've seen you so highlighted everywhere, which we'll obviously talk about later. Big match coming up, by the
Big
way.
match.
But just wanted to sort of go back to your sort of roots and past. As you said, you started a long time ago. When did you feel this could be a reality, that you'd be able to perform in front of live crowds of over 1,000 people, for that matter, to be honest, from the ones I've seen?
Yeah, with thousands of people, which is crazy to think about in retrospect. It's I don't think I realized I could do it. I just kind of did it. I was never really into wrestling as a kid, being surprised. So I have a bit of a different outlook in what wrestling is as an entertainment platform. And I went down a weird YouTube rabbit hole back in like 2018 when I just started university, and I was like watching it for a bit, got really into the New Day, and then I was like, I could do this, and then I went and I tried it. I've always been kind of a bit of a wanted to perform but never knew how to, and this has kind of been a good way to both find out how to perform as a bit of a character and have a bit of fun on the weekend, but also have something physical to do as well. So I think it's there's nothing that's prepared me for it. I've just kind of gone out and done it and been fortunate to be good at it.
Nah, totally get it. I guess I guess besides one starting would be to obviously go to a wrestling school and whatnot. But I guess what are some things that people are probably unaware of, sort of the trainings and things that are not like your traditional sports that we see, obviously soccer and all that?
Um, In terms of training, I mean, it's different because you're throwing your body down and you're slamming the mat a lot. Like the ring is not made as a trampoline; it's made as like a structure that you can safely bump on without hurting yourself drastically. But then also gives like a great sound to the ring. So it's like still wooden floorboards, just covered up by a bit of matting. So that's a lot different. Running the ropes, it's a bit of cardio, but it's different cardio. Like nothing can prepare you for running the ropes, or doing any like corner to corner work or jumping over things. Like it's a weird mix of a lot of different sports where you're athletic, but you need to be athletic in certain ways. Agility wise, quick turning, to move and flow with each other, especially if you're doing chain and stuff like that. A lot of Greek Roman wrestling is kind of built into what we do in chain and grappling and stuff like that as well. So it's a weird mix of everything. Nothing really prepares you for it. You just kind of again have to go and try and do it and figure out how it works for you as well as a person.
For sure. I'm super curious as to know, how long did it sort of take you through the training and all the sessions to then get yourself prepped for an actual match, whether it was the first
Ooh.
match or in a live crowd as well?
So my first match would have been, again, PCW Slam. I actually think I have this written down somewhere because I was like, you always get told in wrestling, write down your matches because there is a website called Cage Match where people can track your matches, but normally it's someone else doing it for you, so they don't get all of your initial starting matches and all this other stuff. So you don't. You keep a notepad of it, of everything, all the matches that you have, so that way you can look back and see this exact thing while I'm trying to look for my matches. So I had my first official class on the 19th of September 2018. I then debuted uh, the 4th of January 2019. Um, so 3 and a bit months to debut.
Wow, that's a very
Yeah.
quick. Is that a normal turnaround for a training wrestler?
No, I think a
No,
lot of
that
places
doesn't sound it.
no, a lot of people do it differently. The great thing about PCW, and that's where I started training and met a lot of the guys that I am now wrestling with and wrestling against and have been through the system as well. Their system is they get matches into you very quickly, at least back when I was training. So I got a lot of reps under me very quickly and was able to have match after match and figure out where my strengths lie, where my weaknesses lie, how to cover those up in matches, and how to structure a match properly in terms of if it's a main event match or you want to have a high flying match or a bit more of a storytelling match. We could just have those practice matches again and again, whether in front of family, in front of a few friends, a couple of fans that would be there that are regulars to the business. It gave us that opportunity to keep getting those reps in, but that's not the same across every other place because they didn't have the facilities that PCW have in Seek, and it's its own like pretty much stadium where you have the ring and grandstands at all times, so you can always bring people in and do that. Where MCW and Renegades, they have venues they have to hire out and make sure that they don't have a dedicated place to just wrestle and train like they do at PCW. So that's where the differences lie, and that's why I was able to get so many matches so quickly until I was provided opportunities for MCW and Renegades when he came around to do those shows in Melbourne as well, and at a higher level too.
Yeah, so talk to me about the other promotions. Obviously, starting at PCW, that's probably where you made your sort of professional debut in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
When did sort of Renegades and MCW start coming into the fold? Obviously, I think MCW,
Oh.
correct me if I'm wrong, is probably one of the bigger promotions
Yeah,
in Melbourne.
not only in Melbourne but also in Australian wrestling, really. Like it's been around for years. EPW I think is also one of the longest ones over in Perth. PWA's been around even longer than that. So there's very historic matches and companies that have seen legends and greats of other businesses right now. Like Osprey has been in an MCW. He held the Inter Commonwealth Championship. Like he's a big name. So yeah, those came around. Oh, I'm trying to find out when they came because I think it must have been like it was after COVID. It must have been like 2023. I want to say. I was given the opportunity to be in the Ascension tournament at MCW, which was just like a way to elevate some young talent that are coming into the business because they needed a bit of a refresh after a few people leaving, and also like COVID happened, so there's a bit of a um thing there where they didn't have a lot of people to use or could fly down, so they had to adapt a bit. Um, so I got started there, was able to give opportunities, had a match with Emin Azman in my first ever show at the Thornbury Theatre, which, love Emin. He's been a goat and hope everything's well in Malaysia. But yeah, he's had that, and then I've just been given an opportunity after opportunity to kind of keep growing as a professional wrestler, which has been fun. So that's when MCW really came into the fold for
Awesome.
me.
Talk to me about that first match in MCW and having that moment to perform in front of that live crowd and like just sort of your feelings going in, how the match went, maybe something that you probably could have done a little bit differently if there was anything.
But you're testing my memory because I haven't watched that match in a bit now. So like,
I'm
I
really going
think,
back in the archives
yeah,
here.
you are, because like that's like 3 years now, almost 4 years now, I'd say. So it's been a hot minute since I've watched that match back. I think I remember we took our time. I think I wrestled Emin a couple times at that point, so kind of good. My gas tank back in the day was probably not as great as it could be as it is now, I think. So that was always something that I was pretty gassed about, especially with Emin. He plans so fast and quick in remembering certain things. I think it was probably a bit slow, probably at times to kind of react to certain aspects. But I feel like now that I've had so many matches with Emin, and other people that are quite similar styles, I can kind of know when to take my breaks and take my breath and work through the spots and the sequences to make them look real, but very clean as well.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting that I think a lot of people don't know those technicalities and what really goes into executing a really good
Yeah.
match, because I think the execution is key and the performance is also important to how we connect with the crowd and how matches sort of are sort of structured. So to be able to sort of have that is a really big skill, and I really credit like professional wrestlers for that front. And that's sort of why I wanted to bring you on today, was to be able to sort of share that with people that are familiar with wrestling, but obviously see it in a way that's just entertainment, but not really something that requires a crazy amount of work and different sort of skill sets to be able to perform in front of live crowds and actually have a match in itself as well. So that's some great insight. I want to go back to what you mentioned about sort of people you've been growing up with and sort of going up the ranks with through PCW. Obviously, I think you've mentioned Murdoch, who's probably one of your closest mates coming through as well. How does that feel, knowing that you can grow on the journey with these people, and then also like that can funnel into potential sort of storylines and connection building to get fans really personalized towards things as well?
Yeah, it's weird kind of being able to be at the places that I'm at and seeing the other people that have kind of grown up, like literally, like even though I'm quite mad at them to a certain extent. Ryan and JJ I've known since I started, and they've known each other since before that as well, because everyone came up through PCW. So seeing them have the opportunities they're getting at MCW, and then us battling out at Renegades, and being able to have fun and have them backstage in a locker room can be fun but annoying at times, because annoying. But you know, you have those moments where they become your friends and you're good mates with them, and even though you might argue, end up becoming brothers, and you go on these journeys together, and you know, through thick and thin. And as much as they grind my gears at times, they're you know, it's being able to do that is very fun and rewarding for I hope them, but also for me as well.
Totally, totally. And I've noticed since I've been watching, you've gained a lot of momentum and a lot of favoritism from the crowd, especially from the
Yeah.
MCW side. But from the sort of Renegade side, you are, as what we say at heel, which is
Yeah.
obviously the bad guy for those that don't know wrestling terms. How does it feel sort of jumping in between two different promotions and being two different characters, and how are you sort of managing that expectation?
Well, you gotta remember back, like, when I started at MCW, I was also a heel as well, so
Yeah.
it's still that same persona. It's just and realistically, I'm the same sort of dude. I never the character never changed. It's just like I'm a bit more snarky to my opponent rather than being a snarky to the crowd like I am when I'm out of Renegades. Like, they're like they give me shit, so I have to give shit back, and W are giving me cheers and applause and things that I never thought people would appreciate of me. But them giving that gives me a bit more hope and power that I can take on some of these bigger guys and hopefully tumble them over and win some championships. You know.
Would you say both of them sort of fuel you, but in completely different ways? And if so, how would that be?
I don't know about fuel. It's just kind of like you go with the flow and you see how different parts of your character can evolve into different things, and you kind of go from there. It's not I guess not just one set journey. It's just kind of it's a continuation.
Nah, totally, totally get it. And I think as of late, you've actually done a few pretty cool things from someone that is obviously a WWE fan, wrestled sort of the indies around Perth while Crown Jewel was there. You had that infamous sort of briefcase video
Yeah,
holding the Crown Jewel
yeah,
belt, which
yeah.
is
It's
quite
fun.
cool. So it was great to see like local talent involved there. But you also had some trials in Canada as well. So talk to me about that sort of opening and, you know, what sort of that experience was and everything.
Yeah, I was able
Both, I
to.
guess.
Yeah, I was. Well, Perth was great. I've talked about Perth a bit now, but yeah, doing all the Crown Jewel stuff was great, and we have the opportunity just to kind of see how it is backstage is a cool eye opening thing, and you know, you take the gratefulness of being invited to those type of things, and see if it happens again when they come back. And the whole entire weekend at Perth was great because it was all the wrestlers in the whole entire country in one place, which you don't get to do that often. So seeing them is quite fun. But then yeah, with Canada, I had was able to get in contact with some people that had some wrestling schools over there, and went over there. Uh, to do some training. Not really having any shows on there, and I gave it a try to see if there was any shows around that I could just kind of get, fortunately booked on. And there was a festival at the time that had like 3 shows each day, pretty much, so you could go and wrestle like 3 times a day if you wanted to. It'd be a festival show, so you wouldn't want to kill your body, but you can get the reps in, which is always great. And that's going back to what I initially was talking about and why I was able to get so many. I feel so good so quickly is because I was able to get reps in. These festival shows were the same sort of thing. You can get those reps in. So yeah, I was able to do that and network through there. And I was able to link up with Kingsley and Jimmy Townsend that's over there, some PWA guys from Sydney that I've been able to meet over across the journey. Thank you, Kingsley, for shacking me for a bit. But yeah, so I was able to do that and have some fun and wrestle, get to meet people. Met Kaz, that was over there from Perth. It was a crazy journey, but it was all centered around trying to see how this wrestling thing works on the other side of the world.
Yeah, and how'd you find the wrestlers there in comparison to the ones back home?
Different. I mean, everyone's. It's the same sort of thing. I think anywhere wrestlers are wrestlers. You will get your good ones, that you can learn off and grow off. And then you'll have some people that you'll need to elevate and help out as well because they might not know. Sorry, they might not know as much as you do. So you just kind of have to help and figure out what works, what doesn't work, where the strengths and weaknesses lie, and try to craft something up that will give some entertainment to some people that paid for some entertainment.
Totally. No, I feel like I've learned a lot about sort of your journey and stuff.
Yeah.
We've obviously spoke about it tenfold, but it's great to just have that on the platform too. And this is sort of a personal question, just sort of my sort of favorite. Like, you know how much I love Extreme Rules and taking shots and whatnot.
Yeah.
Tell people the pain that comes from getting a table, a chair, and a ladder shot. And then we'll talk about when I was there live, that scary spot. I was literally shitting myself for you, man. That was very dangerous. And I was glad you're okay, and that was the main thing. But like, stuff can go wrong, and I want people to realize like that you are putting your body on the line and you are risking it all. And I want you to give some insight to that for those people.
Yeah, I mean, everything hurts. But I mean, everything's safe to an extent that you make sure you're safe, but your body has wear and tear. Things like chair shots are still, you try to help and give the facade of it more, it hurts more than it actually does. So there are ways to do it and do it safely and do all those things, but it still hurts at the end of the day. You still wake up and you're like, oh, my body's been through a few tables, or my body has hit the mat a few too many times, or I really didn't land properly on that one bump because now my right butt cheek's sore because I've landed awkwardly. So, you wake up and all wrestlers kind of feel that. So it's not for the faint of hearted, but it's for the love of the game.
Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
So, who is Jarvis outside the ring?
I don't know. I'm a very chill dude. Try to take it easy. I don't know. I'm just me. I don't think what you see in terms of Jarvis the character is turned up to 11. I'm a little bit more douchey, but like in real life, I'm not that douchey. But it's that's just me. I'm just chill.
Yeah, for someone that's worked with Jarvis in media, I will say that he's very chill and chill enough to get on the pod as well. But does the character ever bleed into your real life then? Are there any moments where it just comes in?
Nah, it doesn't never bleeds in. Because I'm just not that much of a douchebag in real life. I just play it up because like it's fun to play it up, and you don't get to unleash those opportunities to like actual people in real life. So it's a good little outlet where you can just kind of banter a little bit, and there's no consequences because it's all in the fun of the game. It's not anything like hated.
So how do you get sort of the light switch going on? So when you're on full wrestling style, how does that douchebag Jarvis come out?
When the music hits, that's when it all changes. You go and walk out and everything's different. You're that person. There's no, I hype myself up by like screaming and yelling, and I think I've probably gotten that from Murdoch a little bit because he does the same thing. He just starts yelling and barking, and it's fucking because he's he's supposed to be more of the heater, the angry guy. Me, I just kind of do it. I just kind of hype myself up, and then I go out there and I talk absolute nonsense for as long as I can talk until I'm gassed out and lying on the ground either winning or losing.
Yeah,
That's just how it is.
No, I rate it. I rate it. I will say, an entrance is just so cool. I think one of the most, I think, different things that wrestling provides, and I think it's part of the art as well. So, what came into sort of your sort of entrance? I know for MCW, it's Denzel Curry
Yeah.
theme, which elite song by the way, elite
Thank you.
choice.
Thank you.
But just sort of your meaning into what do you want to get out of that entrance and sort of your ideas, and if they were your ideas, if they had influence as well.
Um,
Because a good entrance, I love a good entrance
yeah,
personally.
I don't know. For me, my entrance was just I did that pose. So back in the day, I would like almost bounce into the ring and do that pose. Like I'd jump, like bounce myself as I'm going in off the bottom rope and like pose in the center as I do now on the stage. So that one I kind of have been using and just thought it was kind of a good look and cool, and it just I don't know. It makes me. I feel it makes me look cool at least. Which was able to bring over to MCW when I was able to do the one off the balconies and stuff like that, which is great. So it's just that hand signature and that look. I want that have that almost iconic look. As you're like, oh, if that you do that pose, that's like Jarvis's pose that he does.
Yeah.
So that's where my entrances kind of come from in terms of like the posing and stuff. The music again, I spoke about it earlier. It was about the greatest, which was the Little Cap song. So that's where that's why I used it to be completely fair. And then the Denzel Curry one was because I needed to be a good guy. The music that the greatest song didn't go well with the face character of Jarvis, and he needed to be a bit more cool, a bit more badass, a song that people can kind of bop to a bit more. And Denzel Curry's Ultimate is a classic, like old school, like internet song. Like for me, I'm hearing that, like I am the one. It like that it makes me think of like COD montages and stuff like back in the day. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit of a shout out to like a bit of a younger Jarvis that was having fun on the internet.
Sure, it's sort of also links up with I am the greatest as well.
Yeah,
To be honest, if you are saying I'm the one, it's quite similar as well. So
exactly.
yeah, I kind of rate that too. I rate the COD link as well. COD's a game and a half, isn't it? Not the same anymore, but you know,
No, it's a
back
bit watered down, but it is.
back then was the shit,
Yeah, it's
especially like
different.
when you're younger. But again, I think you seem very confident. You seem like you go in with a lot of confidence and exuberance. Does that energy match before a match, or nerves do come out? I'm trying to see if Jarvis does
no,
crack.
no, I crack. I had a match against Robbie Eagles. I think it was 2023. Maybe no, it was 2023, I believe.
Yeah.
That match I was nervous for. I was cutting before that to try to look in good shape and get my ducks in order. And I was just very anxious like that entire match. Like we planned it out and all that stuff. And I just was still like when I was about to go out, I'm like almost blank, and I was a bit just nervous as all hell because like Robbie Eagles is a hell of a wrestler and one of the best in Australia. So yeah, to be able to have that match was insane, but that's where I probably cracked the most. Otherwise, like big matches, you have to just turn on that character and just kind of go, and sometimes to an extent a little bit ignore the crowd and just focus on what you have to do. But you got to make sure that you also do listen to the crowd at times, so that way you can flow with them and give them a journey as well.
Sure. So going back to the entrance, would you say once the entrance hits, that's where the nerves go, and then
Yeah,
right into
for
the
the most
greatest
part.
Jarvis? Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part,
No.
that's where it all switches. I think you talk to any wrestler, and the second you walk out that curtain and your music hits, and you walk out that curtain, you switch into a different person.
And then I think just speaking of one of your great matches, I can't help but bring up the match that you had against Delta, now known as Zaria, who's
Yeah.
currently in NXT at the moment, representing Aussies. Very close to getting on the main roster too, but in WWE. Talk to me about that experience. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. They wanted to rightfully so push the shit out of Delta, and and rightfully so, because she was crazy. She was great. She had the look. She had the crowd reaction. Like, there was a moment where like she didn't even come out, but the crowd was chanting for her anyway. Like, there was like some brawl that happened. I can't remember what show it was at, an MCW show, but it was like the final segment. They're waiting for one more person to come out. They were chanting for Delta, but Delta was no way going to be in that match anyway. So like, that's how over she was, and rightfully so. They wanted to put the strap on her and push her to the moon. Fair enough. And I was just a building piece of that. Had the feud with her for the women's title, which I won.
Yeah, you talked to me about that. You were the women's champion.
Yeah,
like,
I exactly how. I asked the same question. I don't actually know. But yeah, I somehow became women's champion, and then I fought Emin for the Intercommonwealth Championship, became a dual championship, and then Delta beat me, and rightfully so, because I was a cheaty little boy that took the shortcuts, but was able to put a bit of a legacy onto a title that I should have no right having a legacy on. Yeah, so it's quite funny, but it goes down as a good laugh.
I rate it, and what I want to say about what I love about wrestling as well is like you spoke about it, like your job and your position at the moment was to put someone else over. And I think that in itself brings out a talented wrestler. And I think people that don't understand wrestling, I think that's also part of the art. You see it in a lot of older wrestlers in WWE. I'll just recently talk about putting young stars over, but putting people that are getting the crowd reactions. And it's such a selfless thing, but I think it's a thing that actually grows a person's character and a connection. And no one's going to ever forget that Jarvis the Greatest was a women's champion. And I think it's funny when you think about it, but it does create legacy as well. There did she just get the women's champion, or did she end up getting both belts as well?
She got both belts. She won both of them off me. It was a winner take all.
Yeah. So then what happened with the Intercommonwealth after?
I think she lost that separately to the women's. I think she held on to. She either lost the women's separately to the IC or vice versa. But I'm pretty sure she lost one at a time. She didn't. She didn't like when she dropped both. She dropped both.
Yeah, totally. And then talk to me finally about sort of your sort of accolades and the belts that you've had. Obviously, we've got one that we're going to be talking about that's coming up. I guess that legacy though. I wouldn't say yet, but I'd say you're coming for it.
Yeah. So we had a 507-day reign as Renegades tag team champions, me and Murdoch, which was the longest reign as the second reign of the tag team champions ever. So it's going to be hard to beat that one, tell you that much. So that's been a championship that we've had great fun with, and me and Murdoch have been able to bond over being a tag team for that long with those championships, which is good. I held the Slam Championship, which was the PCW Academy Championship pretty much. For 300 days, and then that's my only other belt, and then obviously the Women's Championship and the IC Championship from MCW was my only other belts that I've held, but that's been my accolades. I was this close from winning the Ballroom Brawl last year, but that's pretty much it. One probably a couple of rumbles and stuff like that in PCW, which is fun. But yeah, that's pretty much I think all my accolades in wrestling, at least up to this point.
Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
Now let's talk about MCW Anniversary. Yeah. The match is coming up very soon, 21st of Feb. Big moment. You're going up for the title against Robbie Thorpe. So
yeah, man.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited. I've been sort of following the storyline, but for those that haven't, can you give us the sort of run through of the storyline and what got you to potentially becoming MCW champion?
Me and Robbie have had a long past. He started in PCW, saw him come in, and he was skyrocketed to the moon because you look at the guy and fair enough, he calls himself the gift for a reason, and he is a gift. Like, you look at him physically, and even how he speaks, he's elegant as all hell. So you got to give him the flowers, and that's why he was so loved in so many different places, and now is loved across Australia, I think, to an extent, which is frustrating to me, but he gets noticed, and that's what he's done pretty well at. So started there, And then I joined the Icons. Well, I never actually officially joined the Icons, but I helped the Icons win the best belts in MCW, the world, and the tag belts with Rocky, Brooksy, and Slexy, all there together. I helped that. Do that. Then he gets joined in because Rocky just, he loves his favorites, and Rocky just chose Robbie to be his boy, even though I thought initially I was Rocky's boy. But so helped him win the IC belts, and then I'm kind of just getting beaten up by the Icons, opponents, because they can't fight their own battles. They just throw me in to take the meat pretty much as a bit of a bait. So, that plays on you a bit. And it gets to you, and me and Robbie kept getting at each other. Rocky put me in positions where I had to, help him win the IC title, be the special guest referee, make sure that he always wins was the biggest thing. Robbie stage champ is what I just kept getting yapped into my ear about. So that gets on you and gets on your nerves, and then Rocky gives me opportunity at Endgame to become a part of the Icons officially against Lucky O'Leary. I lose that match because Lucky has his foot on the ropes. Robbie comes and berates me, and berates me, and berates me. So I flip the switch and I kick him right in the head. That's what happens. You see that on camera. That is exactly what happens. So from there, we fight. I fight Rocky. I beat him. I have a match against Robbie, and I beat him, making him number 1 in the ballroom brawl. So that's my doing. He calls himself number 1 only because I put him there. And then he wins the Rumble. He wins the ballroom brawl, even though I thought I had it. Edwin said, "Ring the bell." I won the match. I thought I had it, but his foot never hit the floor. Apparently, he eliminates me. He has the opportunity to become MCW Heavyweight champion. Sorry, and then he wins that opportunity, and now as the only person to beat him over the past year, I think the story is right there to take him down and take the Icons down and take Rocky down and take all this stuff that I helped build down once and for all. And that's what's happening at Anniversary. I'm taking them all down. This is where it all crumbles. For at least for them. For me, this is the rise.
Yeah, this seems very personal for you based on the tone of your voice and stuff. But I just
Well,
want to say, yeah, can imagine. What would you be if you're looking at Robbie Thorpe right now in that camera? What would you say to him?
I wouldn't say anything. I'd start punching him. I'll start going him. I would. There's no words left to say. There's only action, and then that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing on Saturday. I'm going to take action. I'm going straight for him the second that bell rings.
And how keen are you for that?
Dude, I'm keen as hell. Come on, you don't get to wrestle, and I'm not sure if you've seen what Rocky said online, but he said this is my only opportunity for a year. So if I don't win this match, I do not get another opportunity for 1 calendar year to challenge him again for that belt. This is my only opportunity. It's one and done, because you got to stack the odds in Robbie's favor. So if I can't get it done, it's going to be a bleak time seeing him as champion until I get that opportunity, or someone takes that opportunity and takes it off him. But I want it to be me. It has to be me.
Well, we'll all be looking forward to this Saturday where you have the opportunity to be MCW Heavyweight champion. How does that sound?
How does that sound, good. Sounds good. Good. I don't have to come back on when I have it, so I have the belt and I can show it off.
Yeah, totally. We'd love to have you back on and celebrating with us here at the Huddle Within. But there you have it, guys. Jarvis the Greatest jumping on to talk all things wrestling ahead of his match this Saturday at MCW Anniversary. Standing tickets are only available, so if you are keen for them, jump on them as soon as possible, because this one's going to be a massive one. Jarvis, unfortunately, I'd love to be there supporting you on your side, but I cannot make it. But I'll most definitely at the Bucks live stream the video and see.
I'm not sure if it's live streamed. Oh, you might have to wait.
I might have to wait. I know. I'll watch it with live reaction. I'll keep up with the social media posts in the hopes that you do prevail. But it's going to be a big one, and I feel like it's one for the ages. And it's really excited to have you on to talk about it, and also to talk obviously about your wrestling journey and stuff, and really excited for what the future holds. And, you know, maybe with the WWE, or not the WWE, maybe with the MCW belt, that might start something great, as we like to say. But again, Jarvis, thank you for jumping on.
Thank you, man.
I really appreciate it. Any last words for anyone listening?
No,
Any advice?
go live your dreams. Don't, you only got one life. YOLO. Follow me on socials, exe.jarvis.
Yes, I will plug those in for sure. And get that out to everyone. exe.jarvis, follow the journey, follow the man, and I'll catch you guys back again with another episode as normal. Have a good one. Cheers. So that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in and being part of this community where we go beyond the game and into what really matters. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who sees sports just the way that we do. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on my social medias, which will be linked below. Send in your thoughts and even be part of a future episode. Until next time, keep that passion alive, stay in the huddle, and remember, it's always deeper than the game. Cheers.